Hey, welcome to the Weld School channel. This is a review of the Lincoln Electric Aspect 230 AC/DC machine. I've ran the 375 many times. Super impressed with that machine, and guessing this is kind of just a little brother of that machine. It has pretty much all the same features and whatnot, except for this is the all-in-one, like ready pack or whatever they call it, but you can see it's got the mounted machine. It's got a water cooler, and it's got a spot for all of your, foot pedal, hooks for your torches, and a spot for a tank. So you could really, use this one all over the place, in a garage, in a fab shop. If you're out in the field, you could load this thing up on a skip elevator and just take it to wherever you need. So really impressed with the setup that they did with this one. So I went ahead and rolled this thing right next to a Miller 280 DX. This one actually, that Miller, it's not totally comparable because that one will run flux core and MIG. It's got the multi-process feature on it. Overall, it's got a pretty similar footprint as in means of space. I do like the cart better on the Lincoln. It's a little bit easier to roll around. When it comes to the output, the 280 is obviously going to be a little bit higher. It's got a higher duty cycle at that amperage compared to the Lincoln. But if you just need a little bit less amperage, you get away with it. The 230 really comes in and still packs a big punch. Both machines are single phase and three phase, but the Lincoln does give you the option of a 120 plug-in. So that's kind of nice if you're going to weld in the garage or just a quick fix for something. So the setup is relatively easy on this machine. Not much to it. Plug it in. Hook up your ground. I already have the TIG torch ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and hook up my gas here, 100% argon. Tighten it down. And then flip the machine on. Right on the back side, there's a switch. Once the machine powers up, I'll start clicking around. So there is DC, AC, high freak, touch start, soft arc, and crisp arc for stick. There's 2-step and 4-step. And then you have some frequency that you can change with your AC. Then you have your AC balance, and then asymmetric waveform, so you can determine how much amperage you want on the positive or negative side. So you can see my amperage, I'm controlling it. There's the end amperage. Post flow goes up to 60 seconds or auto. Pre-flow is 0 to 25 seconds. Your starting amperage will go as low as 5 amps up to 200. And then you can do your 4 steps, so you can have your downslope timer and your upslope timer as well. All right, so if you're using pulse, you can adjust your peak, what the percentage is. Your pulses per second, it'll go up to 2,000 or 0.1 at the low end. And then your background current, what percentage of that peak do you want to run it at? Here I have the machine set up for AC TIG, and if you hold that select button for 5 seconds, you can go in and adjust your waveforms. There are 4 different types of waveforms. You can tell the machine what size diameter tungsten you have, so that way you get the right starting amperage. There's 2 and 4 step, and then there's bi-level, which you can use as well. It does have a spot timer as well. Here I set the machine up on stick, soft arc, and if you hold that right button down for 5 seconds, you can adjust your arc force, hot start, and then your polarity. It should default automatically to DC positive, but you can adjust that. And then right here, it comes with the Cool Arc 22. It's got the quick disconnects, which are really handy to have. Fill her up, make sure she's on, and you're good to go. All right, so I'm gonna start out doing some AC TIG. I set up a bunch of T-welds, and I'm just gonna do, I don't know, maybe like 3 or 4 inch welds and show the difference between all of them. This first one was the square wave setting. I kept everything at 120 Hertz, which is pretty standard, although you can adjust that higher or lower, which I will do later in the video. And that would be your soft arc. Here I'm running the sine wave, which is old school sine, which is a pretty soft arc. And then this last one is the triangular waveform. So not a huge difference between the four of them, just because I'm running it all in the same size metal and same size rod. And really there's benefits to using triangular on thin stuff and maybe some square on some thicker stuff, but you can hear the sound difference between these. And then I went ahead and put it back into square wave, and I'm running 400 Hertz, which is a pretty loud pitched sound from it. And then I went down as low as I could at 40 Hertz, which is a little different. I went ahead and hooked up the pulse setting. And so I'm going to do a couple different, little high and then some lows. So there's 10 pulses per second on AC. And then this one's a little bit lower. And here we have 1 pulse per second, which kind of give it more of like a dime look. Here I went ahead and hooked up the machine back to DC. I'm on DC negative, and I'm gonna run some stainless and some steel. Here is just a regular old dip method on stainless steel, probably around 100 amps or so. This is an 1/8 inch piece of metal. And then here I am using pulse, and I'm doing a lay wire technique, so I'm just pushing that wire into the corner and then just running right over the top of it, which always has its benefits on stainless steel for heat and distortion control. And I just went ahead and went to some mild carbon steel. I just did a dip method. You know, all of these, I just super impressed with the arc on these aspects. Like I said earlier, I like the 375. It's extremely smooth. Just a great TIG welder. I went ahead now and I'm tacked up some 3/8 plate T and running a 60-10 whip pause motion using the actual crisp arc, which is on the right side. So you get a crisp arc off of that. And I was impressed. I probably could have ran my amperage a little higher, but I'd say I was probably 90 or so. And then I went ahead and switched the machine over to the soft arc, which is on the left side, and ran some 70-18 here. And you can just see the difference in the amount of sparks. I mean, it's extremely smooth. It really lays it down. So overall, impressed with the way this machine performs. I love the setup on the cart. 2 thumbs up for this machine all day long. Lincoln, you did a phenomenal job. I definitely highly recommend this machine. Thanks for watching.